kids. Fuck the kids? Yeah.
When I say, who's the master? You say,
All right, what is up, guys? Showing up the King here, back with another video, and today it is time to celebrate. It's a celebration, bitches. Look, I am excited. You know, the Haslab has officially been funded. Again, I think at final count, let me go ahead and take a look at my notes. We ended at 16,774 backers, and the initial target goal was 10,000, which means we got two of the three unlocks. We got the Scarlet and we got the Night Force character. Uh, we also got, as an added bonus, we got Cobra Commander and two Cobra figures as well. So that brings the tally up to 5 action figures. I'm sorry, 7 action figures, because we also get Ace, Wayne, Scarlet, Cobra Commander, the 2 troopers, and then we get the Night Force pilot. So all in all, that's a good victory. You know what I mean? So I'll take that as a win, especially when we had so many haters and so many distractions. I'm thrilled that this is over with. And honestly, as far as content is concerned, this will be my final video talking about Haslab in the past tense, meaning talking about, was it worth the cost, and just going back and forth with people. And again, I had a lot of intelligent debates back and forth with a few people, but there was also a lot of ignorant people who just kind of were just out of this world. And again, I don't want to deal with that anymore. But, and again, especially because of the simple fact that, again, it funded. And it didn't just barely fund. It got way more than, it was initially supposed to be. And again, because less than 24 hours ago, there's a lot of y'all out there that were saying it wasn't going to fund at all. And it ended up going to about 16,000, almost 17,000 backers. And again, I know there's a lot of people that are going to kind of try to counter and say, oh, that was just people buying multiples, which is probably true, or there's probably people buying them as investment pieces so they can sell them in 2023. Again, that is very possible. I'm not going to sit here and lie and say that I'm not going to try to sell some of my stuff in the future either. But again, you can look back now and people are still paying like $600 to $700 for a vintage Skystriker, and in my opinion, which is an inferior Skystriker, especially to this one. So again, I digress. But so again, what I wanted to do is just kind of talk about really briefly, like I did, about the Haslab project, and again, just congratulating my everybody out there who made this happen. But I also wanted to talk about the bulk of this video. I wanted to talk about O-rings and retro and where that's going in the ecosphere of Hasbro and G.I. Joe as a brand. I also wanted to quickly discuss the Rancor as well, because again, that was something that ended up failing, and I think that actually ended up helping the Skystriker in a way, and just also try to use this as a tool for Hasbro to kind of see how they can avoid these things in the future, and some pitfalls that I see happening for the G.I. Joe brand in the future if they don't change some things up. So I definitely want to talk about that. But also, I wanted to tell you guys just about a really great deal that I got. So as you guys can see here in front of me, I have some 118 scale figures, and I just wanted to talk about these real quick because again, I wanted to showcase my love for the hunt. This right here is a Sentinel 1 Attack Apache chopper, and this is a Sentinel 1. I believe this is just a carrier chopper, so it carries the people to battle. These two plus a 118 scale truck, I was able to pick these 3 up for about $20. No, it was $20 exactly on Facebook Marketplace, and for me, that was an amazing deal. I mean, the carrier chopper came with everything: the crank, the gun on the bottom. It actually has bullets on it. The door opens up. I even added in red lights on the inside. That thing is like decked out. I love it. Also got this Apache chopper, and right now we have the Retro Joe Duke in here right now. I'm dropping stuff all over the place. As you can see, Duke is in there. And again, we'll talk about that. Also, the this is the Rogue. What is this? I actually have a box for it. This is the Rogue One Anton Merrick's, X-wing. I actually got this at a local Target. Now, this was actually pretty cool because I got this for, I think it was about $45 or $50. And this thing retailed at over $100. And I'll explain to you how I got it for such a cheap price. So I actually was going into my local Target and I was just going up and down the aisles like I normally do. Stumbled upon this and I was like, where did this come from? Like, again, like as I said before, like Target and Walmart, they don't typically stock these kind of figures in retail locations. Come to find out, somebody ordered this online and returned it to the store, and it dropped down the price to $75 once they returned it. So I was like, oh, $75? I wanted something like, again, 1/18 scale. I wanted it, so I took it up front. Come to find out, the guy, whoever returned it, kind of did like a quick switch. And what he did was he bought it online, stole the carded figure out of it, which was Anton Merrick, and then returned everything else. Now, me personally, I don't give a crap about Anton Merrick. I didn't really know who he was. All I wanted was the X-wing. So as I was sitting there talking to the lady up front, I was like, "Look, looks like somebody stole the figure out of here. I still want it, and but can I get some money off?" And she took it from 75 down to 50, and I got it for 50. So yeah. And again, this is a fantastic X-wing. Again, for me, it's a 1/18 scale or roughly. And again, I'm bringing this all up because inside of here, I don't have Anton Merrick. I have the retro Snake Eyes. As you guys can see here, he fits in here, he fits in there, he fits in there. And again, it's a great figure. And this is the reason why I wanted to try to transition into discussion on O-rings. So, word on the street is that Hasbro, for the 40th anniversary, is going to be switching over to O-ring full time, and they're going to be phasing out. Retro. They're going to be phasing out, stuff like this, and they're going to be going hardcore into O-rings. And to me, I definitely think that's a mistake. I really feel like O-ring has its place, but I think that there are probably the people that are yelling the most about O-ring. It's more of a loud minority than a normal majority of people who want this. Again, from the people that I've been talking to, like in different Facebook groups and friends that I know, none of them really feel that excited about the O-ring line. A lot of the people were excited about the actual Skystriker and potentially selling the O-ring figures, but no one was like, I shouldn't say no, but not a lot of them were like, oh yeah, I'm super excited about those O-ring figures so that I can have them in my collection, if that makes sense. And what I think is that, and again, the word on the street is again that Hasbro is phasing out the retro line because they felt like it wasn't doing well at retail. And when I say at retail, I mean Walmart, because it was a Walmart exclusive. So then now they're trying to switch pace and go with the O-ring and have it exclusively sold on Hasbro's website, which I think is not a bad idea. But I would caution Hasbro, if they even see this video, to not phase out the retro figures, because I definitely think that when it comes to G.I. Joe vehicles, this is what people want, not the O-ring. And again, like I said, I do think there are a lot of people who want O-ring figures, but I don't think it's enough to push people so that those O-ring figures will sell better than the retro line did. And quite honestly, I want to say this, I definitely think that the reason why the retro stuff didn't sell well was because I think there was a lot of collectors that were very upset at how the classified line had been treated during that time frame. Because if you remember, the classified line and the retro line were kind of being sold simultaneously, and there were a lot of people looking for the classified stuff and could not find it. I mean, Major Blood, Snake Eyes, Storm Shadow, like all of that stuff that people were trying to find, Beachhead, all of those, Baroness, all of those things that people were trying to find, it soured them on the line. So that, yeah, they probably saw those, 3.25 inch scale figures, 3.75 inch figures, and were like, I don't want that. I want classified. And they probably weren't buying it. And again, I included, like, every time during that whole classified hunt stuff, at that time, I wasn't checking for 3.25 inch scale figures at all. I was strictly classified. If I didn't find classified, I was rolling up out of there. The only thing that got me into that scale of figure was when I was searching up Joy Toy. And for some reason, something Joy Toy came across my radar. I started looking into it, and I bought my very first Joy Toy. And I actually don't have it with me. It's over here in my 1/18 scale display over there. But I did bring 2 figures. This is the second ones that I bought. And these are the Joy Toy Army Men. Again, you probably can't see them very well, but these things are top quality figures. These things run about $20 to $30 each, easy. And again, you would think for a figure of this scale that would be too expensive, but no. And again, they all line up in the same scale as G.I. Joe. Now, these guys are a little thicker, and again, but they come with so much articulation, like the legs, the arm. Like, these things have the articulation of a Mafex or an Amazing Yamaguchi. Again, the helmets, they come off, well, make me look bad. Okay, here we go. the helmets come off, and this guy actually looks like Bill D. Williams. That's kind of weird. But yeah, the helmets come off. The helmets have a lot of detail. This armor, like this, almost like a exoskeleton stuff. All of this stuff comes off, and you can like strip them down to their bare bones. And again, you can get them in really nice, gun positions when you're like kind of trying to do your poses and stuff. And again, it came in a set of 3. But anyway, the reason why I'm bringing these up is because that's what I want to see from Hasbro. I am the kind of person where the reason why I don't like O-Ring is because O-Ring kind of reminds me of cheap, mass-produced Army Men. And when I think of that, I think of figures like this. And again, I have this as an example right here. Like this. I believe this isn't even an Elite Force. I think this is this came with a defense tower set that I had bought online, and this to me just screams O-Ring. Like, when I look at figures like this is what I think about. Like, and then when I think of stuff like this, I'm like, yay, no. And again, this is not a horrible figure. Like, it serves its purpose. It's like background characters, like when you're setting up your dioramas and you just need extra fodder bodies, or if you want to like do like a dinosaur chewing somebody up, you can toss one of these guys in here. They have limited articulation. They got, no double jointed elbows, no double jointed knees, no ankle pivot, none of that stuff, but it gets the job done. That's what I think about when I think about O-Ring. And again, like, even with the ones that they've already talked about, which was Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes, I looked at those things online, and I did not like how they look. Like, if you look at this Snake Eyes and you look at the other one, it is a night and day difference. Night and day difference. Now, I had pre-ordered that 2-pack for the $40, and I honestly do personally think that those O-Ring figures are overpriced. Like, especially when you got this much quality. Like, these things were like $12 to $15 when they came out, and this thing came with a host of weapons, massive amounts of articulation, and again, like, double jointed elbows, well, single jointed elbows, but again, double jointed knees. The feet move. Again, like, this is an amazing figure. And again, you can get him in the gun positions. And again, you just can't do that well with O-Ring. So again, like, the thing that I would love to see from Hasbro personally is I would love them to do O-Ring. If you think O-Ring is going to be a huge hit, like you said you think it was, do O-Ring online only, see what it does. Continue to push the retro line. Again, every time I go into a Walmart, if I see these officers or if I see the G.I. Joe grunts, I'm picking these bad boys up. So don't stop doing this. Like, we need this. Now, what I will say though is that don't do any more of these because Duke was a hot mess. Like this, that's a big no. Like you can't be having this man arm popping off this easy. And I think you guys can learn from that. But again, I would implore you to do a better job with with the Duke because that's a hot mess. It doesn't happen with Storm Shadow, but for some reason, the way you guys created Duke, both his arms pop off very easily. But again, I digress. So that's kind of what I want to see from Hasbro as far as like how they want to handle the GI Joe stuff. Again, have retro still going. Let them sell that in Walmart. Give them an opportunity to try to ramp up now that you got the excitement from the Skystriker come out. People are going to want figures to fit in the Skystriker. Now, that does segue into something that's very concerning that I didn't really realize. And I guess on a base level, I kind of should have expected it, but it still surprised me that the Skystriker that's coming out only fits O-ring figures. Like even the little plug that comes out of the back of the cockpit of the two, the cockpit for the troopers, those specifically fit O-ring figures. Like this retro Snake Eyes won't fit in there, and that to me is very concerning because again, I would say, why would you bring out a vehicle that people are going to want to use this in and not let it be compatible with it? Again, I know you guys want to push people to this O-ring, like, hey, if you want somebody to fit in that Skystriker, you better buy those O-rings. You shouldn't do stuff like that because again, fans like us will always find a way. And what's going to end up happening is people are still not going to buy those O-rings. And then what they're going to do is they're going to wait till they get the Skystrikers, pull out that cockpit, 3D print, and then you're going to have people selling those things on the third market to other people who want to get those cockpits that will fit your normal 3.25-inch to 4-inch figures like the Snake Eyes. And again, that's kind of what I'm planning on doing because again, I also have the Skeletron, and again, I have these figures, and that's ultimately what I want to do. I want to mix and match all of my figures in that scale so that if I want a Joy Toy to kind of fit inside of this copter, boom, he can do that. Again, obviously, I got to take the gun out of his hand, but he fits. He fits here, he fits there. And also, again, you have these World of Halo figures. Again, these Spartans, they're doing a really good job with this World of Halo stuff. And again, I plan on using these as well. And I want these all to kind of be interconnected. And as long as they're in the same scale, I want them to all be, interconnected so I can kind of create these fantastical, multiversal battles and things like that in the comfort of my own home. So, again, that's kind of my thoughts on O-ring and again where I want to see the G.I. Joe stuff go in the future. And the last two things that I want to talk about is really quickly I want to talk about the Rancor and why I think it failed and what they could have done better. And then I want to talk about future Haslab projects for G.I. Joe. So with the Rancor, one second. So with the Rancor, I think it was a shame that it failed. Me personally, again, I do collect Star Wars, but I was not exactly excited about the Rancor. And again, quite honestly, even if it was cheaper, I probably still wouldn't have backed it. Again, I just have when it comes to Star Wars, I have a very specific amount of things that I collect. Like I'm really into like the Mandalorian. So all my Star Wars stuff has a lot to do with the Mandalorian. And it also has to do with Cal Kestis, which is from that Star Wars video game. So those are the kind of the lines that I collect when it comes to Star Wars. And I, of course, will collect vehicles as I see them because, again, I like the vehicles. But what I think went wrong with the Rancor is simply that it was not enough value for the $350 some odd dollars or whatever it was coming from. Now, how I would have done it if I was Hasbro is the base offering would have been the Rancor, it would have been the Rancor Keeper, and it would have been the backdrop diorama and the bones. So, hey, $350, you get the Rancor, you get the backdrop, you get the bones, and you get the Rancor Keeper. Boom. That would have made everybody happy. People would have been excited. And then what I would have done is I would have done for the unlocks, I would have done the little crumb, Shanacious crumb little rat thing. Do that as the first unlock. Just get, to wet the whistle. And then maybe for the second unlock, you do Luke. That re-sculpted Luke. Everybody's going to want to get that Luke. And then after that, I would have done Ula. And again, I understand Ula is a controversial character, slave and all that kind of stuff, and you guys would never put that out at retail. But this is a direct-to-consumer fundraiser. Again, we are all adults here. Most of these people are in their 30s and 40s. We get it. We understand the risk that it takes, and if we really care, we should be able to not be handheld. And if we want this kind of character, and you guys, and again, this is something that's in the George Lucas mythos. This thing isn't. She exists. So again, she was affiliated with the Rancor. Give it to us in the Rancor, and boom, you could have put her as that other tier right after Luke to get people keep going. And then I would have thrown in the Gamorrean Guard at the end, but not just a re-release of the last Gamorrean Guard. I would have just done like a battle damage Gamorrean Guard. Like give them some like scar marks and like some puncture wounds, have a little bit of green blood, whatever color blood comes out of there. Just kind of do it that way. Or if you don't want to do blood, that's fine too. And then, or you could have done something cool where he can kind of like get split in half so that you can actually have the Rancor actually holding his bottom half, and you can like detach the top half, kind of like how y'all did with Cannonball. That honestly would have sold gangbusters. That tier right there would have just been beautiful. But again, mistakes were made and it didn't fun. There's no need to harp on it because honestly, I don't think at this point it's going to get re-released anyway. So that's that. Now, finally, what I want to talk about is the future of Haslab. Now, my suggestion is that you guys relax on Haslab for a bit. Let's go ahead and get the Razor Crest out. Let's go ahead and get Galactus out before you guys announce another Haslab. Again, me personally, my wallet could use a break. But if we are going to do Haslab in the future, I think the obvious choice is between three different options. A Haslab Night Raven, that is a must, and or a Haslab Terradrome for Cobra, or if you guys want, of course, is going to be the Haslab USS Flagg. I definitely think that is a figure that most collectors want. I know the vintage ones right now are probably going for, let's see, about $1,000. Yeah, like you're paying a minimum of $1,100 for a USS Flagg. And honestly, like I was looking into trying to get myself a Flagg because again, I have all the space in my basement. I wanted to set it up, have all my different vehicles sitting on it, plus the Skeletron, plus the new Skystriker. Like I had it all planned out in my head. And then I realized, I was like, number one, I'm not paying $1,000 for no Flagg from like the 80s. It's not happening. And then number two, the Flagg from back then isn't even that big enough to hold all the figures that I wanted. So again, if we're going to do the Flagg, let's do it right. And again, people will support it. So what I suggest for the Haslab for the Flagg is number one, it needs to be wider. So if I'm not mistaken, I believe it was about 7.5 feet long, or is it 5.5 feet long? It's either 5 or 7.5 feet long, and then it's about 3.5 feet wide. I think you probably want to increase the width by a foot or two, and increase the length by another foot. And that's kind of where we need to go with that. Again, make it better material, because again, I know that the snappable pieces on the original Flagg used to break all the time, so you guys want to button that up. Again, make the command tower, make that thing multi-level, make decks as unlocks. So like, if you guys want to get this, the first thing comes with the Flagg. Maybe get like LED lights on the deck itself, so that when planes are coming in, you can see it and you can like light it up with LEDs. put LED lights in the actual the main tower. Of course, give the same sign, the sounds, the sirens, things like that. Even motorize the elevator if you want. But I think for the special unlocks, what you guys need to do is you need to add in like lower levels, and just say you get a lower level where you can put like the crew, and if you want to add in another level like that, you can put that in there for the engine room, for sleeping quarters, however you want to do it. Like if you're gonna do a USS Flagg, you need to just go balls to the wall and just put your best effort in from jump, because you're not going to get another opportunity like you had before. Like if you're going to go with the Flagg, you guys got to put your best foot forward at the very beginning and just knock it out of the park. Because honestly, what I am actually doing is I'm in the process of building my own USS Flagg from scratch, using like wood, particle boards, things of that nature. Because essentially, when I looked at what the Flagg was, it was literally just multiple pieces of plastic, some struts on the bottom, and then the command tower. I can honestly print that out, and I've seen people do custom USS Flaggs on Etsy and on Reddit, and I believe on His Tank. There's like multiple people who have made custom USS Flaggs, even out of like shelvings from like from Home Depot and Lowe's. So that kind of stuff can happen. So again, I hope that Hasbro doesn't mess up on that. So again, that's it. Oh, I also forgot too, with this Elite Force, I actually got this from TJ Maxx for $13.99. So, and I think this usually runs at like $25 or something like that. So let's get the conversation started, guys. Again, we are past the funding from the Haslab. Again, I know there's a lot of people that's still upset that it funded, and again, we just have to move on from that. It is funded, it is going to be made, and now we just have to move on to bigger and better things and what we want to see from Hasbro. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Thumbs up the video. This is Sean of the King, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.